Okay, hello, welcome back to another game of chess. They're playing e4 as per flipping usual. We face a French defense, so I'm going to play c4, the Steiner variation of the French, pre-moving inwards, of course. We will take, and after they take, play queen to b3, a beautiful ortho Schnapp gambit. Now, it's got a very German-sounding name. Ortho meaning, I believe, correct or right or proper, just from the term orthochronous in relation to Lorentz transformations. Shout out to my Introduction to Relativity lecturer. And Schnapp, I believe, is like ein Krokodil Schnapp in German. I don't know. It's like a snap, I feel like it connotes gambit. Anyway, we're going to play bishop c4. They accept our Ortho Schnapp. Someone who speaks German, tell me if this Schnapp can be like a trick or a gambit or I looked this up at some point, but have since forgotten the information. We are, of course, putting as much pressure as we possibly can on that f7 square. They defend it with the queen, although slightly inaccurately. The queen's generally supposed to be on e7, and I believe if we go knight c3, we're threatening to take this pawn with the knight. We're threatening to threaten the queen, and of course it does prevent this knight from coming to its natural developing square. So I mean, what you might want to do to kind of remedy the king side's developmental issues potentially is, develop a bishop. But if you do so, maybe this is a problem immediately. And if you develop the knight first to potentially stop knight d5 ideas, then your bishop's completely hemmed in. So it doesn't seem wildly obvious how black should proceed. Maybe they just ignore everything, get on with this, and hope not to lose to some kind of knight d5, knight takes e4 idea. By the way, how much water have you drunk today? Make sure you drink your water. Good advice from the World to the Chess channel. So, we see queen to g6. Now, it's interesting because, of course, that kind of sidesteps the way for the knight. It puts the queen in a pretty good position, defending the f7 pawn and not really in the way of anything black might want to achieve. It also, and there's kind of two sides to this. The queen defends this, it attacks this, it attacks this. This is all very soft. This is a weaker pawn that they're now defending, or at least it was immediately weaker. It's not, structurally weak in any way. And of course, this is the point of pressure they're defending. You can say, oh, what a fantastic queen, it's doing so many jobs. The flip side of that is, what an overworked queen, she's doing so many jobs. Potentially, we could be looking at, if this queen is to move from any place, like even if you go in here and take, maybe I just go check, and maybe that's fine. I'm a little suspicious of that, because probably I'm just losing a rook and then a knight with check, and okay, what am I going to do? Probably not mate you by force here. But again, it is two queen moves in response to two developing moves, which probably shows the merit of this opening potentially. The question is, can I play like d4 or maybe knight g to e2, knight g to e2. If you take here, I can take here first and then come here and defend the rook. Seems like a pretty good idea. Do I play h4? Okay, you know what? We're going to start with this just because any problem on g2, I think knight g3 is going to be, a very pleasant developing move. Now, you'd expect them to maybe be able to defend the pawn with the f5 pawn push. However, a quite unobvious, at least I find it unobvious, implication of this battery here is that that knight would actually be hanging, attacked twice if the f pawn moved. Now we do see the bishop come out, fair enough. I mean, I could just play knight g3 straight away. They might just snap it off. Can I take with the f pawn and then castle to have the rook looking at this? That seems pretty interesting, I guess. Also, this bishop's kind of frozen to defending b7. I think they're doing quite well though. I feel like I've been slightly inaccurate. I should definitely know, given that queen f6, queen g6 is very intuitive, I should kind of know the theory here, which rather embarrassingly I do not. h4, you go here. I can take this. I'm just thinking this queen is tied to this pawn, so it can't really move, because I can take and then play knight g3, but then you remove the defender and pick up my rook with check. Okay, so maybe h4, you take this, I go check and then play rook f1, and then I just do my best to, I don't know, push the pawn and develop the bishop and castle. Definitely feels a little risky. h4 might just be stupid. I could play f4. You take en passant though. Okay, d4, what about that? You take like this, en passant, I go knight here, you take, I take. I do quite like that position actually, and if you take here, I take with check and then castle. You know what, I'm playing d4. I don't think it's necessarily objectively sound. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. We're playing a freaky gambit, and in the spirit of a freaky gambit, I just don't think it can be, that freaky of a gambit unless we have kind of full mobility of all our pieces. So a move like this, allowing en passant with tempo, just to open up potentially ideas of development with tempo as well, letting the bishop move, being able to castle queenside, playing rook e1 quickly. That kind of feels like the right way to go about things. Also, with that bishop on f4, maybe I can start going for ideas like knight b5 or knight d5, and then c7 becomes very weak. So, okay, we develop our bishop. I'm down 2 pawns, but are you really holding on to this one? Probably not. And in 2 moves, I'll have completed perfect development of everything. Like, I'll castle queenside and play rook e1, and my bishops will be just beautiful, picturesque, fantastic. My rooks on the 2 central files that are open, or semi-open for now at least. However, they are going to get to castle, which bothers me immensely. Do I take this? Is that kind of stupid? It might be kind of stupid. I do have this potentially. Castle's queenside. You just castle. Damn it. I can take here though. Where does your queen go? Ah, you played bishop f5. Although then maybe... I don't know, I take here. You take here. I take this. There's something there. I think we start with castling. I think they have to castle lest they get hit with a very speedy rook e1. I think if you ever take this, by the way, that's an open g file, and the fact that you're almost certainly going to be castled kingside, sorry. I often mix up queenside and kingside just vocally and then end up saying quingside, and frankly, someone should invent a chess variant called quingside where you can castle like on both sides and your king splits into two mini kings. Okay, what am I talking about? Let's play bishop d3, kind of a no-brainer. Bishop f5 seems to be your pretty much only move. I guess you have queen h5, but then I mean I can take here and that looks pretty damn good. I take here, you take, I can take this, and I feel like I should just be better there slightly at least. I take here, you play like knight here and defend this rook. I think I'll go for this. I think I'll go for this. The reason I can't take first is because then you're attacking my bishop and I just don't love that. Equal material now. You do have an open b file and that's potentially troubling. Knight here, I don't know. Yeah, they do just take. And I can play takes and I should be up in exchange. You're not trapping my queen. If you do something like this, I can just pick this up. And I really don't feel as though I'm in much trouble king-wise, even though your bishop cuts this diagonal here. I just feel like because I've got this dark square bishop on this diagonal, I should be relatively safe. So they develop their knight, of course. I can take this. I don't know why I'd give more open files. I mean, it is an extra pawn, actually. This is held, and that kind of doesn't feel really stupid. Also, just pretend I didn't draw that arrow. So like queen f3, defending, or rather attacking this bishop. It seems completely obvious where you go, because you go like this. I don't know, we start throwing stuff forward. Your queen doesn't really get into the game so much. I think I prefer... Wow, I nearly just misclicked my queen. That was reckless indeed. I think I like queen f3. I like the tempo we get on this. I like tempting them to play bishop f5. And I like the eventual h3, g4, g5, h4, h5. Throw all the pawns here. I feel as though nabbing a pawn... I don't know, maybe it's objectively sound. I don't love the idea. They do play bishop f5. It doesn't seem completely unreasonable to play rook g1 and just go for g4 immediately. The thing is, your queen right now just doesn't really have many moves. I guess queen h5 is going to be a move, but if I play h3, and so is queen g4 rather, but if I play h3, this isn't a move for the queen, and the queen has no moves except for h5, and if you go to h5 we can play g4. So really just restricting where this queen can go and saying g4 is inbound and potentially I'm going to be getting at this king quite quickly. I like this position. Again, maybe I should be taking a pawn here, who knows. In fact, I probably should, because you know, even if you give a check I should go back this way. But I like... Okay, now I'm tempted, because now I just don't want to give up the bishop anyway. If I go here and you take like this, and I guess I recapture, and then you move the bishop back, maybe? Or I go here, you take like this, I take here, you... I don't know. I just take this, you go rook here. Here, takes, bishop e6 maybe. I guess I could pick this up. Doesn't seem like the end of the world there. I don't know if g4... I'm really running out of time. Okay, I'm going to play g4. I don't love that. I really don't love that. I'm running out of time, and that was a bit of a rash decision. But takes... Again, we're up in exchange, so, you know, you're the one with the kind of burden of proof here, so to speak, as to, like, what do you have in this position? And with my queen on this dark square diagonal, I just don't think you have any attack. Bishop e6, as we said. I mean, I can take this with tempo on this. That seems pretty compelling, actually. And then I have f4 if you give a check. Let's go for this. Let's go for this, because potentially this is looking soft. And with 1 minute 38, I had a little bit of a losing streak today, and I'm frankly not happy about it. I'm looking to secure a win here. You know, coming back to recording regular videos means playing chess sometimes even when I'm not really feeling particularly on my A game. Yeah, I feel like that's manifesting. I do not want to drop below 2200, because I was thinking about ideas of 2300. That's f4. I already mentioned this. Yes, please. Thank you very much. That's a free move. That's a free flipping move. f4 held backwards by the queen. I'm feeling good. You have the check, obviously. I do have this, though, right? Bang. Okay. No checks. We cash in on... Yeah, we're up a knight and a pawn as well, which should be more than clean. Here. Feels a bit puzzle rushy. I don't know, like, something happens here, and we have a check this way. You know what? Genuinely, and I'm so sorry to do this immediately, but actually, no, I can play rook here. I don't need to be scared of, like, a queen check and then winning a pawn. Surely not. I was going to play queen d2, which is just painful and boring and defensive, but a good move, probably. Here. Oh, this would have held e3. What am I talking about? I still like rook here. It's a good move. I mean, I'm thinking of trying to pivot the knight into f5. Get an absolute knife on f5, you know? Give the check, and, I mean, I easily can now. Fantastic. I think I'll just pre-move this, honestly. King h7, or king h7 is this, maybe. Okay, we'll go back to here. Right, this knight is perfectly placed. I mean, the material advantage we have manifesting in... That's lame as hell. Why have I done that? Why have I done that? I could have just played king b1. I have 55 seconds. Honestly, I'm so traumatized from having lost like a couple games earlier. It's just not that deep. But it's immensely affecting my decision making. We're up a knight. It's a clean knight. I wanted to give that pawn away just to make the advantage the clean knight we have here. That's definitely the reason, not because I blundered anything or, you know, definitely not. I just go here and I'm fine. Or actually, rook c2. Hold on, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but this, I can't here, and I feel like rook c2, and I might actually end up getting a bit, I don't know. It looks just a bit dangerous, which I'm not happy with. 38 seconds. I'm just going to convert this game. You know, we played a nice, interesting auto snap. Queen here. Surely, right? You don't have a check that makes any sense. So we just do this. And then, oh my lord, make a move. I mean, 25 seconds. What am I doing? What am I doing? I kind of like the idea of h4, h5. Which... just to pivot the knight to g6 and then try and sneak in here and get a lovely little mating net wrapped up. You know what I'm saying? Ooh. Ooh, ooh. Maybe not. How am I so bad at this game, genuinely? Could someone enlighten me, please? I've just made it a time scramble. I mean, as is inevitable with all Will Taylor chess content. How on earth? Yes! Okay, so here we are in the analysis. It could be said that I made that way harder than it needed to be. I mean, 100% that could be said. 93% accuracy, couple mistakes. At what point did I have... Oh, okay, so I had 14 seconds left halfway through. Nah, more like a minute left halfway through, right? Yep, 1 minute left here, and then I had 3 seconds left here. Now, okay, genuinely, the fact that I had 3 seconds left here, and won, and by checkmate... I mean... So in this position, I had 0.3 seconds left, as you can see, just below the board here. 0.3 seconds. Now, 0.3 seconds in a position with plus 5.5 advantage... You'd expect that I wouldn't be able to win this, but we mate the queen, and then the pre-moved king e3, guessing the checks, then the pre-moved king e4, guessing the checks again. They then didn't have a check here except for f5, of course, and so that's why I pre-moved king f5. Then they didn't have a check apart from rook f2, so of course we pre-moved the king here, and then all that remained for me to do was, if they give the check here, fine. If they don't, we go here. We're unassailable at least immediately to checks, and so my queen is then able to go via d. Oh, I had mate in 1 there, which was of course rook here, but you know, I can't react to that. There was no guarantee they'd play g4 at all. What there was a guarantee of is that, you know, as long as they don't play rook here, which, okay, of course that was possible, but to predict this is fairly unlikely, and I had to pre-move, of course. This would have been a blunder in that case. Otherwise, Christ. Right, let's quickly look at the rest of the game. So we'll open the Masters database, although I doubt it will serve us for very long. We played this Ortho Schnapp here takes, and then, yeah, queen b3. Okay, immediately there are 10 games in the Masters database. Let's close the Masters database. In fact, no, we'll keep the Elite Chess database open because d takes e4, and you see a 56% win rate for white, some draws, and 40% for black. Bishop c4 then is the most popular move, and after queen to f6, I mean, already 60% win rate across 66,000 games, 67,000 games, 60 versus 37. Like, this is a major difference. Knight c3 top move. I mean, the win rate just gets even more, 61 to 36. Wow. But okay, my opponent goes queen g6. I don't think the database is wildly useful here. Let's just look at the engine. Opponent goes queen g6. I could easily be in this position again. Now, I found the correct knight g to e2. Cool. They went for bishop d6, and I should have gone knight b5. Again, in this position, I don't actually have any real advantage. So the way I played it, d4 inaccurate, but actually, hold on, we get this position. Castle, they castle. I feel pretty good about this. They should have taken on g2, which actually fills my heart with joy, because if they did take on g2, I'd have been very happy. You know, rook hg1, and then, what, like queen here, queen here? Hold on. Once the engine actually starts to think about it, it says this absolutely sucks. In this position, it didn't see it. Now it does see it. Yeah, so of course, taking on g2 would have been complete garbage. We picked this up, bishop here, pick this up, win the exchange. Honestly, that was pretty strong. Queen back to f3, one of the best moves. Yeah, queen f3, queen takes a7, queen c6, all pretty good moves. Queen f3, a reasonable one. Then h3, I should have taken the pawn on c7. I imagine the engine want me to do that. g4, fantastic, takes. And I guess the engine hates that just because of the forced simplification. Or maybe I just get the c pawn and then f4 and we just pick this up. Yeah, okay, I mean, clearly I'm very winning here. At this point, I just, for some reason, capitulated completely and started panicking. Or not really capitulated, I mean, I kept the advantage. I only started losing it, you know, around move 44. It's move 23 and we've got a minute left. Fantastic. I just had absolute PTSD from losing a few games recently. Check, put the knight on f5. We don't mind losing that. Then, had I gone to a1 here, you know, rook c2, I'm sure I would have been completely fine. Maybe even here, and then like queen here. Looks pretty strong, queen e5. And then apparently I've got to bring my queen back out here, yeah, of course, to defend this. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just didn't want to give them any activity, so instead, okay, we just defend like this. Then threaten the mate. Then we're looking to, you know, massively blunder some stuff. Hang a pawn here, just push this pawn. I mean, yeah. What I should have been doing is just taking this and legging it with this pawn immediately, I believe. What I was kind of hoping for was, let's say, some kind of a6. I don't know, the pawn's hanging, they want to allow it to be defended. And then we do something like this. h5, I don't know, check here, you take, I go check, you go here, I go here. And this is, I believe... Oh, okay, of course you can sack this, but unstoppable mate unless you sack. So that was kind of, you know, if we had one extra move, that idea would have been fantastic. I didn't expect them to go for the queen trade so early, to be fair, but we did have 20 seconds left, I guess. And then... yeah, I mean, this was not fantastic, but we did make the queen, and okay, from this point I had less than a second, and we've already had a little look at that. So, honestly, time management, once again, Will Taylor Chess is the slowest but fastest player you'll ever see. I cannot believe I won that. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see a bonus exclusive video every single week on a Sunday, head over to the Patreon. It would be a massive support to this channel. It's the best way to support this channel. You can also get your name included at the end of all my videos. You know, when human civilization is nothing but dust, all that will remain is the Will Taylor Chess catalogue of videos. And if you want to etch your name at the end of something like this, an immortal masterpiece that will last generations, then yeah, check out the Patreon. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.